difficulties through all of SM, it looks like he's had a very clean auto fight, which will definitely save some time for Megacorp, much needed time. So we're now going to have Mobius up with us as well on.
He's getting started.
Nexus.
All right, so Mobius is getting started, and you'll see once again Nebulox 7. To point out, Killer's about to do the box stand we were talking about, so he's going to put a Nightmare box down. He's going to double jump on top of it, or high jump on top of it, and hyper strike, and then once again do another high jump and hit the trigger for that particular end of that section of the level, and then kill himself so he can go to the relay station. And
yeah,
something
so
I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to point out where I don't think we sort of glossed over it as I was coming into the voice chat, but Ratchet at the start of Nebulox 7, you saw a Mobius' screen. He sort of just jumped into the wall and it pushed him upwards. We use that's used specifically to skip the whole scripted sequence at the start of the level. Anyway, I need to talk about this section on what Killer's doing on Psylocke because I have been told by one of the runners, Mobius, to convey to you all, and I quote, that this section sucks ass with 6 exclamation marks.
Yeah,
essentially,
that's his words, not Nano's.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad. Basically, how do I explain it? It's just combat, but there's like a laser at the back.
Yeah,
and if you do anything weird, you kill them in the wrong enemies in the wrong order. You walk around weirdly. You breathe.
Yeah,
the laser back will immediately one-shot you.
Yeah, it's this game's very interesting in terms of some of those mechanics to do with combat. It's very strange.
I think it looks like it's going well for Killer.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he had the issue.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he has made sure to get just the right amount of XP. I think he's actually had more XP than he should have. Yeah, he's supposed to.
I believe in the normal route, you level up
after this
dropship.
You
level up from the dropship.
Yeah, so he's actually getting a lot more damage into this.
Not sure if that's faster. It's probably faster, but
he doesn't have to kill any enemies from here until the boss fight. So.
Yeah. And I think that's the relay section pretty much done for, so he's waiting for the game to let him access the jetpack, and then you're going to see him flying around. The game wants him to, like, do some stuff with a water station, and he's going to ignore that and go get a gold bolt and then just head to the end of the level, pretty much.
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit to talk about with this jetpack. So the jetpack, both in this game and its features in PS4 as well, you can only use it in certain segments. And those are where these refill stations are. But they also have a height limit. So when you fly out of bounds with it, it's in particular, it will drastically reduce how much fuel you have, and you're going to see that right now. So he's going to fly up towards near to where the boss fight is, even though you're supposed to go all the way around for this part. He's going to just squeeze out of bounds, and watch his jetpack fuel as it just melts, and he just has enough to make it out of bounds up onto this segment. Some nice box clips here, and he is in the room with the final boss
of the level.
Final boss.
Not Guys, over that quick. But yeah, so this is the Nefton fight, who's one of the antagonists, and I'm not sure there's much to say about it. For the most part, it's just throw bombs at him, and when he spawns enemies, you need to kill them. The more interesting thing is after the fight, you have to backtrack into the sewer part of the level, I believe, where the game soft locks.
He's actually going to be doing that to get a gold bolt.
Ah, okay.
And you're going to see the. So this boss, there isn't actually that much to talk about. There are some trains for anyone who likes trains.
You really like trains, and we're referencing
if you really
videos.
Like trains,
how old now?
Certain someone. But yeah, he has pretty simple phases. Deal damage. Enemies come on trains. Kill the enemies. Yeah. Kill him. But yes,
bosses with phases where they're invincible are like the bane of speedrunning.
Yeah. So yeah, after this boss fight, he is going to clip below the level, and you're going to see this horrible greenish color. And this is the base color.
What are you talking about? My eyes love the green.
What's wrong with your eyes, dude?
Oh, I have glasses. It's already pretty bad. Trust me.
All right. Yeah, and none of the underground section of this planet is loaded if you don't come at it from the right direction. So none of the terrain is loaded, but the gold bolt's there because why not?
Yeah, just pick it up. Why not? Yeah, there's not much else to talk about. I guess we can
Yeah,
swap back to Mobius real quick.
I was just
Who's
going to say
almost
Mobius.
finishing Nebulux. Waiting on this auto scroller to finish up.
Yeah, I think this game and as a speed game, it's very nearly a very good speed game. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but there are certain sections which do slow it down, which do take it from that A S tier down to
Yeah.
the B's and C's.
So Killer just finished the Nefton boss fight, and now there's like an Eldritch Abomination out of nowhere. And don't worry about the story; it's not important.
Yeah, I think we went
really.
a bit too in depth with the story and size matters. I think we've exhausted how much storytelling we need to do.
Yeah, all you need to know is there's two bad guys and a big Cthulhu dude with a big eye.
Oh, the
and
green! Oh.
Yeah, it's blinding. This is almost it's like a step down from Out of Bounds in like Source Engine games or stuff where it's all rainbow and your character's movement like stays on screen. It's weird, but yeah, it's still yikes. It pretty much burn your eyes out. But thankfully that's over pretty quickly. So I believe there's a quick difficulty switch.
The penultimate bolt on this planet because there is one more. And he's going to have to do something interesting here. So to end this level, he needs to get back to a certain point down further back along the level and then kill off some enemies. But what he's going to do, he's going to kill off some of the enemies, get the gold bolt, and then kill off the rest of them. Because when you kill off the final enemies, the game sends you back to your ship.
So optimizing on movement, it's sort of similar to the difficulty switches in some sense, just trying to warp as far as possible, least amount of time. There's not much else to say, really, for this planet.
No,
Mobius
that's going to be
coming up on the end of... Oh, wait, no, he just got his second gold bolt on the orphanage planet.
Yeah, I call it orphanage planet, don't worry about it.
Casually, the orphanage is, like, one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion. Like, really good. You don't expect it to take the turn that it does, and it's really atmospheric. It's quite nice.
Yeah, so... Killer has just gotten that final gold bolt, and as you see, as he kills that last enemy, there's a cutscene, and he's back at his ship.
So coming up next is Planet Thram. It's like a big, wide open planet. It's sort of casually designed about 3 stages of movement. First, you'll walk around, and then you get the hover boots, which are a bit like the charge boots, but not nearly as broken. And then you unlock the jetpack refueling stations, but that takes a lot of we have to collect horns from these monsters called Gargathons, and getting all 30 to unlock the jetpack is slow to get the gold bolts, so there's some clever out of bounds movement and climbing up geometry.
He's using another difficulty switch as well here to skip all of this unskippable dialogue.
Yeah. So
you've seen him switching difficulties. For the most part, it doesn't matter when he difficulty switches what difficulty he switches to, unless he is killing enemies specifically. So here he's switched to Cadet, which is the easiest difficulty, so that he can finish off these enemies as fast as possible. Because there are 2 ways to get the horns.
Yeah.
You can either get it from these carcasses, and they give you 1 horn, or you can kill the giant creatures flying around, and I think they give you 3.
They give you 3, yeah. So
yeah,
this is routed to get 10 horns, and right here you're going to see what happens if you glide up against certain surfaces. You just walk up. So this skips getting the hover boots early, I believe, and you can just get this gold bolt.
It's just another routing change to mean you don't have to go back there once you get the hover boots, which I mean he's going to get right now, but.
Yeah, the hover boots have some interesting tech that you're going to see, but as I said, not nearly as broken as the charge boots in the first few games. You can do some stuff where you basically long jump out of you can long jump out of the start of the hover boots, and it gives you some speed, but it's not crazy stuff. Right there, you saw Killer talk to the smuggler twice and then difficulty switch, and I believe that skips a cutscene for some reason, is what I've been told. But yeah, so right here you're gonna see some out of bounds movement on these rocks to try and get to the coordinates to the next planet. And I think you'll see the hover boots trick where you hover boot off a platform and then long jump out of it and keep a little bit of speed to cross some larger gaps.
Yeah, that's not like a hard trick or anything that they're doing. It's just while you are in the air after hover booting off a platform, you can just long jump out of it, and you'll see it again here as they get.
Right here, yeah. Oh,
is he gonna get enough height? He might just get it.
Oh,
With the hyper strike.
I did not expect that to work. Yeah, so this gold bolt you would normally need the jetpack for, and for that you need 30 horns, but that's slow. So with some nice movement, you can get over there instead. So that's Thram, and now we're back to Crag for more arenas.
The reason we have to revisit Crag is because the Gold Cup, and maybe even the Silver Cup as well, they only unlock after you've completed Thram.
Yeah. So, like, pretty much all the arenas in all the Ratchet games, there's generally some kind of special bolt locked behind some of the challenges. So I believe there's 2 of them on this planet. So there'll be a couple more arena challenges and also some jetpack challenges where Killer will have to fly through rings or kill enemies. And there's a hoverboot challenge too, which has a pretty interesting skip, which I'll bring up when it comes up.
Interestingly, both players are on Thram right now. As it happens, Gadgetron's still just a smidge ahead. You know, I'd be guessing, but I'm saying like 8 to 10 minutes at this point.
It might be something like that, yeah. But hell, they could still make it back. You never know. Someone could mess up real bad. I have not seen this.
I have not seen this either.
That is super cool.
I don't know if Killer knows what he's done.
Yeah.
I really.
These are some unlisted strats.
These are definitely unlisted strats. What happened there?
I have no idea. Yeah, this is unintentional. What the hell?
Yeah, I think he somehow went out of bounds with the jetpack and flew back into the arena.
Now I don't run this game, but I'd be willing to say that's never happened before. At least on my part. I don't know if it's happened to them.
I mean, I've never seen it, mate. It doesn't look like Killer's ever seen it.
Yeah. Well, back to the same challenge, I guess. There's not much, not much to it. What is there to talk about here? There's really not much.
Yeah, well, I believe we had some trivia sent in for this exact occasion. Do we have some trivia facts we can pull?
We do have some trivia facts. I'm gonna have to scroll up on my messages to find it. Let's see. The only difference in versions.
Did you know that the only difference between PAL and NTSC is that the first planet, instead of being called Nebulox 7, it's called Nebulox 7, but it's spelt out 7.
Instead of being a number.
And this is why, like, this game is so accessible. You know, you can run it on PAL or NTSC.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you can't count or you're illiterate. One of them will work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see. What other trivia do we have for this wondrous planet? Let's see. Did you know the jetpack, for some reason, is hard-coded to be a requirement to get the Thram coordinates, despite being able to technically skip every usage of it?
Oh my god, I didn't know that. That's actually really, really, really cool.
You want to do the next one, or should I? We still got a little bit to go.
To be honest,
oh wait, no, we have an actual skip here.
We have something. We can commentate on something.
Oh wait, no, we don't. It's the next challenge. I'm stupid.
Never mind. Let's just try. So here he's going to be flying through the canyon. I think it's Death Canyon. He did die. So to be fair, so that's close enough.
Befitting its name, surprisingly.
So yeah, these challenges, to say the least, are not very exciting. And this is what I mean about this planet really being the killer of this game in terms of being a top-tier speed game.
I'd compare it to Tools of Destruction. Has some very long, unskippable turrets, like ship flying sequences. Sort of like ruin that game a little bit, despite everything else being really, really cool. But yeah,
it's a shame we didn't get to see Tools of Destruction or Todd in this relay, because it's a really cool speed game, but people just aren't that active in that respect. Killer's main game is Tools of Destruction. He is.
So is Mobius, arguably.
Yeah, well, so is both of them.
Mobius is the Todd God.
Mobius is the Todd God, Todd Rogers, as we used to call him. But that
Oh,
name
boy.
has not gone down well.
Yikes. Yeah. So I don't think it helped. I don't think it helps Todd's case either. The game, not the person. That Tools of Destruction starts off with like an unskippable cutscene. Too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and there isn't really a good way of skipping it. It's a real shame. Anyway, someone's off Thram. We can talk about Mobius on Psylocke.
Yes. So he's coming to Silox, and I don't know. You've seen some of this already, but we'll see if Mobius can get that one trick I was trying to commentate on earlier. There's one particular bit coming out of some out of bounds terrain where you can get a pretty big like boost in horizontal momentum. So we'll see if you can get that. Although I think Killer's on to the interesting part of Thram 2 now, so we'll see.
Yeah. So one of the gold bolts is in the Silver Cup, and then
never mind. It's just a boss.
Oh, never mind. But then the final gold bolt, I believe, is in the first mission of the Gold Cup. I could be wrong. It might be the second. So he doesn't have to do all of the missions on Thram, Crag. Sorry.
Yeah. So I believe Mobius will be doing it here, where he long jumps out of that terrain, and as he comes back and bounds, the game just like shoves him out and ejects him from it and gives him a massive boost, which lets him do that jump there. Yeah. I'm good to go back.
Interesting piece of trivia. As I was watching Killer's PB the other day, in his PB he dies twice to this boss, not by taking damage, just by falling off of these platforms.
Yeah,
so
risky.
Killer could genuinely be on PB pace right now. I haven't seen too many mistakes from him either, actually. So it's very
well,
likely.
Besides that one death clipping through the floor, which I am.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Okay.
very clutch getting up to that relay station there from Mobius. He just got onto the platform.
The relay. Oh, the relay section. The relay station, sorry. And I believe Killer's heading into... I'm unsure of where he... Oh, he skipped some cutscenes with difficulty switching. So now this is the interesting part. So this is Doom Canyon, and it has a rather interesting skip coming up where essentially he's going to be getting sort of out of bounds. All the Ratchet games have some kind of soft lock prevention mechanism when you're like free falling for a certain amount of time. So I think in Ouya you saw the runners do that to death abuse and get back to the ship quicker. In this one, it refreshes Ratchet's jump, sort of like a slope intercept.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slope intercept, but it's also to do with it just floats him up very slightly, and that just allows the Ratchet to get slightly different positioning, and eventually you just get a position which is right enough. Actually, I don't think Killer's going for it.
Killer, why are you letting me down like this?
Come on, dude, this is the only thing we had to talk about. You're meant to like be able to SI up to that section. I guess he was having trouble with it.
Yeah.
So instead he goes the long way around.
That's the only interesting thing about the revisit to this planet,
and
you
ruined
ruined
it for 5 minutes, and you've ruined it, Killer. Shame.
All right, on to an actually interesting planet now, I think.
Yeah. So,
Christ.
we are now on to Igliak. This is the final planet. If we're going by actual descriptive names, I think he's... Am I right? Oh no.
I don't know.
I didn't think
I don't know if he knows. Oh well. Soon we'll be on to Igliak. Is he redoing Doom? Did he hear me call him out?
Oh, he heard us.
Redoing it.
Did he hear us? Come on. Come on, Killer.
Thanks, Killer.
What a legend.
This is what we were waiting for.
Unless he's doing... This is somewhat different to the strat I've seen, but I think he's doing it.
It's the same kind of trick. So he does essentially what would be like an SI in the other games, but instead of having something just to land on, he's just going to wait until the textures kind of give him you know that free pass, and there you go. He gets the second jump. Thank you very much, Killer. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Such a good bloke.
Such a good guy.
All right, I think we're actually on to Igliak.
We're actually on to Igliak.
We're away from that train wreck.
Oh.
Boy, so I'm gonna bring up the story real quick for Igliak. So we're here to
Oh,
steal
geez.
something called the Dimensionator, and the big bad Cthulhu dude wants to get it because he needs to get into our dimension and kill some Lombaxes and stuff. So basically, Killer will need to go through a museum section to get to the Dimensionator, which is stored in there, and the museum has like a tour bot you have to carry around and put on switches. And for the most part,
he's going to be
that's
getting around that
slow.
a little bit though.
Yes, by Nightmare Box clipping.
Yeah, so he's not actually carrying the tour bot through right now, which he should have to do to complete this level. But what he's going to do, he's going to first of all get a nice little Nightmare Box here, get on top of the shoulder if he can. It might despawn before he can get a second one in, but no, it looks like he's going to be fine.
Yep.
Gets over to this section. He's going to clip out of bounds now with the Nightmare Box. He's actually running out of nightmares. This is the last one. Okay, he got through.
I'm not sure he needs another one here. I might be wrong.
He should be.
Oh no, he doesn't need. Yeah, he can just out of bounds up the top of this statue, I believe.
Yes.
It's surprisingly a bit looks very simple.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I feel like they added those like statue models in after the fact because it doesn't really they don't really look the same as the
as everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I believe he hits a trigger here.
Yeah.
And then difficulty switches so he can load this part of the level, which is the Groovatron room, where there's a whole bunch of dancing Valkyries, I believe, from Tools of Destruction. Feel free to dance if you want.
Feel free to dance, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the Groovatron test room.
Yeah, so this room needs to be activated, I believe, to load the last cutscene of this level. Casually, this room's a nightmare.
Mandatory missions. Yeah, so fortunately, they can skip half of this puzzle-esque thing by just jumping onto that tiny little ledge.
It's like a laser emitter or something. Yeah. So that is the museum section pretty much finished. I think there's a couple more enemies to kill and this elevator to go down. But we'll be on to the city section where the game needs you to kill some enemies called Nether Brutes, I think. I'm not sure how many of them there are, but that doesn't matter.
I believe there are 4. I believe you're meant to kill 4 of these, essentially, like commander bigger enemies. But instead, and then I think you're even meant to do another kind of mission as well.
Objective, something like that.
Another objective. But instead, what you're going to see is Killer jump out of bounds, and there isn't actually any collision on a portion of It's
like a freeway tube that gets broken open after you kill the enemies.
The more questions you ask, the less of an experience I think you're going to get. That's accurate.
Ooh.
And then that tube leads straight to the final boss. Killer actually dying here because to get out of the museum, you actually have to kill off all of these enemies, and unfortunately, he ran out of ammo in his bomb glove.
The more time Megacorp has to catch up, the better, in my books.
Yeah, I mean, Mobius has had a strong run. I don't know how much you guys have been watching Mobius, but I don't think I've seen him make a significant mistake as of yet.
Yeah, so he's doing pretty well. Let's see if he can keep it going. So I believe Killer is on to the city section right now. Let's see.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, he is into the city section.
So those are the enemies you're supposed to kill.
Mission, kill all 4 Nether Brutes. First of all, he's going to finish up getting the gold bolts, though. This is going to be gold bolts 11 and 12. Again, that is supposed to be a puzzle which you have to do to get that gold bolt, but if you just high jump underneath it...
Yeah, Ratchet bonks his head on the ceiling, and it's fine. You get your gold bolt.
And then he goes right over to get the final one, which uses platforming, I think, using some of this terrain very creatively, using these.
Yeah, let's call it platforming. Jumps on some trees, and then he's going to use that.
He's actually taking a death here.
Ooh, that was very close, but death is a death is a death.
Yeah, that's actually like a 30-second time loss because he has to go all the way back there. So
yeah.
Time save is time save from Mobius's point of view, and from Megacorp.
I suppose your opponent messing up is a time save relative to you.
Free
so
time save, dude.
hell yeah. Anyway, so he's going to be grabbing that gold bolt, and then you're going to see how he will skip the enemies that he's required to kill in this section if he doesn't die.
Yeah, he's very low. He might have to take a bit of a safer route here, because if he gets another hit and it takes another death, that's starting to become quite a lot of time loss.
Yeah, so he just difficulty switched back to the start, and you're going to see him going to the freeway tube that he's going to have to clip into, that normally is busted open by the enemies after you kill them or something like that.
This clip looks really easy, or it might look really easy if he gets it first try. But if you just wedge yourself just right, and bit of a ghoulish screen there.
Alright, then I guess we're like Assassin's Creed Unitying.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And again, very nice of this tube, this freeway tube, to have like arrows and stuff. It's quite interesting.
You think it was built for crazy Lombaxes?
Coming up to the final boss right now. It's quite a long boss fight. It's not like a lot of the other games.
Yeah.
It has two separate phases that swap back and forth. The first is very similar. You've seen this in every Ratchet game. You defeat the big guy. You throw bombs, and the big guy's health goes down. But then we're going to switch over to the Clank section, which I will explain briefly, because we haven't seen it yet. So these creatures come from a different realm. That's all I'll say on that matter. But Clank essentially goes into that realm and has to complete different objectives. In this final boss fight, what he's going to be doing is looking for one of the antagonists who's going to help us actually defeat this big guy. And this is a puzzle segment, usually, revolving around changing the direction of gravity. However, we don't do that very well. we kind of cheat a little bit, and it's all to do with these moving boxes. So these boxes, if we actually position ourselves inside the box as we hit a wall, it will just push us right out of bounds, and we can use the outside of the map instead of the inside.
Which I'm not sure. I think it actually has some collision, somewhat surprisingly. But
it does have weird collision. It also has weird death planes, if my memory serves me correctly. So their movement is relatively precise, but their objective in each of these two segments, this is the first of those two, is to get these nether guys and then take them over to Vendra, who that's the character's name.
This game has a story?
This game does have a story.
Yeah, so another bit of tech you're seeing in the Clank sections is basically if you punch off an edge of a platform and then continue doing that punch combo, Clank will fall really, really fast instead of his normal speed, which saves time in a couple sections. You would have seen it a few times when right there when Killer was moving around out of bounds as Clank, and Clank does like a spin, and there's like a blue trail around his hands, and he falls super fast. So yeah, that's most of the Clank tech, I think. So it's just another Ratchet section and another Clank section, and
then the final Ratchet section, and then we're done.
Yeah.
Oh well, I say we're done. Killer's done. Mobius still has quite a bit to go, and then of course we have PS4 after the fact,
which I believe you'll be commentating on, and I'll be throwing over to Foas.
Yeah. So again, this is looking like a really good time for Killer. I'd be surprised if this... oh no, he had that mistake and he went back, of course, sorry. Yeah. Outside of Crag 2, this was probably PB pace for him.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna be a PB like it was for Franz, which I don't know. We all popped off in voice chat when that happened, but yeah,
massive congrats to Franz and all of the runners who have taken part so far and to go as well.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing actually what Mobius's time will end up being, because we haven't been paying like too much attention to his run because he's behind.
No, but I've been looking over like briefly. I have not seen him make a mistake as of yet. And I think this is already him just about finishing up, or
round 2.
getting close to the end of Crag 2. So he's
Round
almost on
2,
it
Crag 2.
himself.
Yeah. We'll see if he ends up doing the Doom Canyon skip, but that'll be in a little bit, unfortunately.
Come on, please, Mobius.
I'm pretty sure he'll do it. He mentioned it to me
Yeah.
before.
Okay, so that was the final Clank section. Just more of the same. More of the same tech being used.
And
So
cutscenes.
time killer here.
All right. We still have a little bit to go, but yeah. Let me. Should I dig up some more trivia while we wait?
You can get one final piece of trivia in as this boss fight finishes up.
What's a good bit of trivia? Did you know if you laid out every Nexus copy on the planet end to end, that'd be a waste of time, according to Mobius?
Yes, I did actually know that one. It would be a waste of time.
Yikes.
When he wrote that.
Shoutouts to some Australians. It's like 4 AM for us.
Yeah, massive shoutouts to you guys. So that is
Anyway.
Killer finished, and that means we are moving on to Bunny Power for PS4, if I'm not mistaken. And with me, thank you so much for joining me, Nano.
No problems. Do you want me to hand it off to our next? Yeah. So we have the one and only Foas in the voice chat with us to commentate PS4.
What's up?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So let's get on to this Ratchet PS4 stuff. So they just turned on some cheats that they unlock for getting all of the gold bolts in the game. This is New Game Plus. They allow them to move slightly faster and jump higher. They also use the invincibility, which allows them to bounce longer on lava and bounce when stuck. That's this game stuck mechanism.
I'll just interject real quick to say it's been a pleasure, and good luck with the commentary and to the runners for the run. See you guys around.
See ya. So here, this jump right here is kind of tricky, the one they're doing right now. So here they're going to be landing down here on this like platform below them. So Bunny does kind of a safer strat here to get up. It's slightly slower than the most optimal thing, but it's a lot safer. Basically, what this does is, it allows them to skip the rest of the level and the next level, which is Quartu, where you play as Clank, who is being, hunted down by another robot. Unfortunately, he died. We can't do much about that. He has to go through this part again. So yeah.
Yeah. So as First was saying, the softlock prevention method in this game is to bounce you out, to try and bounce you back in bounds, but that bounce isn't like really controlled by the game. So instead, you can control it and just bounce further out of bounds. It's a really wacky skip that we use all over the run, actually.
Yeah, it's used a lot.
Okay, I actually didn't have the game up there for that whole time, so it's back up for me. Unfortunately, it looks like he's having some trouble with this first skip. This jump here is deceptively difficult. It looks like you just need to jump down to this platform. It's
really hard.
Very precise.
Definitely. It's not an easy trick at all. I hope my mic's better now, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds much better, dude.
Good.
So yeah, this is NG Plus for PS4, which means they did have access to those cheats. That's right, these guys are cheating.
Yeah, they're filthy cheaters. SMH.
So the 3 cheats which they have on are, or that they need to have on, are fast mode, which just makes everything move faster.
You also move more, I believe.
Yeah.
Like 25% more.
Yeah, invincibility, which technically obviously makes them invincible, but it also helps them with some movement as well. I believe it makes their jumps a bit higher.
It definitely does, yeah.
And also unlimited ammo.
What it does is it gives them more bounces when they get stuck or bounce on lava. Here, what he did was he killed this dropship, hit this checkpoint, killed the dropship, and then changed the difficulty, which basically skipped an entire level and like half of the return part to Veldin. here he's going to use the morph array to shoot this dropship down and turn it into a sheep, and then he's going to get into this garage and finish level.
Yeah. So Mobius is actually on very good pace, I have to say.
He sure is,
He's
yeah.
already into the second half, or coming into the second half of Igliak. So I'd say it's all on Danu's and Bunny Power to close out this race, because it's still anyone's game.
It really is at this point.
These two runners are not unlike for the other games we've had. They are not necessarily world record contenders. That's not to say that they're bad by any means. Trust me, this game is harder than it looks.
Definitely.
But it does mean that the skill gap could go anywhere. Like this game could really be the decider that lets Megacorp back into this.
Yeah, and here coming up next, they have to. Here we do a little thing here. They have to turn this bolt crank right over here, because if they don't, the game will soft lock when they go up to the next section. So they need to turn that first.
Yeah, so they don't actually need to use the platforms which that opens up. They just need to do it to progress the story. That, and very good for Bunny that he got that jump first try. That
jump is
very
kind of
difficult
tricky.
jump.
So here's the plumber who makes very meta jokes in this game.
Yeah, see you in the next reboot, guys.
Yeah, so here they're sliding down the sewer pipe to get down to the start of the level. Now they're going to go talk to the mayor, who will give them another infobot to planet Iridia.
Yeah, I should mention, they're playing in Polish, I believe?
Right now, so Bunny's playing in Finnish. Both
Right.
of these runners are Finnish, so they just choose to play in Finnish. Polish is technically the fastest language, but Finnish is much slower. It was like 3 seconds, so yeah.
As Mobius leading into the final boss fight on Nexus.
Yeah.
Bunny Power is going to be moving towards the mayor, who, unlike Rack 1, who gives you the coordinates for what's it called, Kerwan, he gives you the coordinates to Iridia, and for some reason they just swap them round between the plumber. It's a reimagining. They can reimagine whatever. It's just a strange thing to change.
Yeah. Also, another little thing here is that there are a lot more enemies here than there were in the original. Not that it matters too much. They kill them very quickly, but it's interesting at least.
Yeah. So there was a pre-order situation for Rack PS4 where you got a code for the bouncer, which is a weapon in lots of different Ratchet and Clank games.
It was in
it's not
2 and 3.
It was in 2 and 3. And while it's not the most powerful weapon leveled up to the max, which is why in New Game Plus it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be seeing it. In the 80% categories, it levels up super fast and does so much damage early on. So
ending by 100 bolts.
Yeah, it's really cheap. And this created a divide in our leaderboards, as the PS4 codes for the bouncer have now expired. It's been 3 years or whatever since release, 2 years.
Yeah, it's been 3 years, yeah. So here on this level, Kerwan, they're going to be starting off with the ship section where they need to shoot down some hangar ships or whatever. They obviously know the positions of these and where they come from, so they can just shoot them down. And it should be.
And then after he shoots down these ships, there's going to be a strange section where he uses the magnet on his ship, because all ships have a massive magnet, to pick up enemies and then throw them at the giant ship, which you could just see above there for a quick second.
Yeah.
Again, it's something which I think looks much better in the film. Not saying much does look good in that film. Please don't watch it if you.
Yeah.
But
if you wanna.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're looking for more content and you haven't seen it, sure, but don't go in with too high expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, so here they're going to be grabbing these warbots with this magnet, and then they're going to be throwing them at the ship to kill it, of course. Bunny's going to be doing that. And then they're going to be doing a ground segment where they are actually going to be doing some pretty cool stuff.
So
that we'll talk about.
another interesting thing. This planet is technically called Alero City.
Yeah,
It is Kerwan for all
it is
intents and
current one.
purposes.
Yeah.
But I think you were saying to me the other day that they wanted to call this Metropolis.
Yeah, they called that in the first games, but
Well, they
copyright
definitely
issues.
called it in Ouya. They definitely call it Metropolis.
Yeah.
But something tells me they had like copyright issues possibly.
Yeah. So here they're going to be landing on the ground segment of Kerwan. Here, obviously, the fastest movement is using the wrench. I forgot to mention that earlier. They're not going to be doing that much more in the run since they're getting the helipack upgrade soon.
Yeah. Just to let you know, Mobius is finishing up on Nexus.
Yeah.
I believe he's in the final stage of the boss fight.
Yeah.
Uh,
So here, what Bunny's going to be doing is he's going to be throwing a proto class, I think it's called. Yeah, that's what the upgrade is called, which will shoot this button down here and activate like that section down there early. It's kind of hard to hit, but yeah. So now he has the helipack upgrade, and he will be jumping on top of these boxes, which is a little faster than the intended route. And then they'll be getting up on this like little surface you can stand on and jumping over here. That saves like 15 seconds max. And then they'll be getting up here to the train station of Alero City, and you'll see a very different train section from the original game.
yeah, it seemed like the general thinking for this game was make everything just more colorful, more exciting, more